The question of what led to the industry participating actively and the turnout, impressive turnout we have recorded. Like, we had about 1,086 registered active participants. Now, if you count the peripherals, probably much more than that. I think one thing that stand out for me is the trust the industry have come to have for NCDMB. And also they believe that NCDMB will always do the right thing and always ensure that they protect the interests of indigenous companies. Because if they don't have that trust and believe that you will be able to drive local content, most of them will not attend. And usually in Nigeria, it's always about apathy. Once they have that apathy, people talk about voters' apathy. The reason why people don't come out to vote, they say, oh, our votes will not count. Hence, you have that voter apathy. But once they trust that their vote will count and you take their opinion seriously, they will definitely show up. And over time, we've built that trust between us and our stakeholders, particularly the Nigerian businesses. So that is what I can attribute to the reason for this kind of turnout and participation that we had. I think clearly we said that. I think I re-echoed that severally on what people need to do to take advantage of the projects that have been reeled out. One of it is to prepare themselves. Like I often said, the oil and gas industry is highly technical, and we do not compromise safety, neither do we compromise standard. So if somebody gives you time frame in 2 years' time to say, look, these are the things I want to do in the next 2 years, and I expect you to build your capacity to be able to participate in it. So what next is for the Nigerian companies haven't listened to the opportunities that are there to go back and begin to up their game. Those who are there will get themselves ready to participate. Those who are not there will begin to build their capacity in readiness to actively participate. And for us in NCDMB, like I said, most of these opportunities that have been reeled out will be prepared in a compendium and it will be shared online to registered participants as well as hard copies to those who participated who want to really hold something, because some people are still a bit old fashioned like me where they want to touch what they read. So we'll also make that available to them. And then we track these opportunities. If you recall, when we started this program, this is the fourth edition, we have tracked all those opportunities that were shared, and majority of them have come to fruition. Others are challenged based on security concerns, based on some bit of foreign direct investment challenges, bankability, and some regulatory requirements and approvals. But those who cross those hurdles are, of course, invested in the country, and most of those projects are today producing. I mean, look at the Ikike. We shared the Ikike almost 4 years ago. Today is almost doing 50,000 barrels because it came as a project. We shared the LNG project almost 6 years ago. Today, LNG 27 is in full steam, hoping to be completed in sometime maybe 2026 or 2025, as the case may be. We shared the upstream opportunities that will feed into the Train 7, the likes of HI, HA, or Beta project. You saw all those opportunities being shared. So this has been a tremendous success in terms of the program by NCDMB. No, the schedules I talked about are the schedules as contained in the NOGIC Act. There are about 260 something various line items and in different degree of Nigerian content requirements to be done in country. There are lots of them. And I'm sure you're looking for headline numbers in terms of the opportunities that have been shared today. It's quite enormous. I guess it will require somebody to put it together. It runs into billions of dollars when you look at all those opportunities by the indigenous players, by NNPC Limited, by the international oil companies. If you put it together in the next 5 years, you are talking nothing less than $50 billion that will be invested in this country. and we need to take advantage of it. I'll give you an example. A project like Bonga Southwest that Shell talked about, it's almost about 7-8 billion project alone. But Shell talked about their Bonga North project, which I am sure early next year they might FID it. That project is almost about, if I'm not mistaken, $3 billion. So these are all portfolios of opportunity. All we need as a country is the required stability to make sure that all these policy inconsistencies are eradicated. Yes, we are happy that PIB has become PIA. But again, when investors begin to hear you that you are going to reel out regulations and they've not seen the end of those regulations, it also is worrisome. Like, once a regulation is done, is gazetted, it is law. So it's also worrisome. So we need to end all that regime as quickly as possible to give investors the necessary confidence to move ahead so that they know what they are getting into. You finish the PIB to PIA, everybody's happy, this is done. Now you are in the regime. I'm sure you saw the presentation. We have issued 5, 13 are in the works. It creates uncertainty. We need to eliminate that. We need to also deal with the security challenge, crude theft issue that we have, particularly in the Niger Delta, because, like you heard, most of the indigenous operators, they've not been able to evacuate crude. Some of the companies, for 1 year, they have crude they can produce, but they are not able to evacuate. And now everybody is struggling to look for alternative source of evacuation, and that increases the cost. You imagine you pump your crude into a pipeline that is supposed to take from Ibigwe to Fokado, I mean to Boni, and then now you are looking for how to truck, then you get into badge. Of course, you add to your cost, and then the per barrel production shoots up because all those increased costs. So we need to address those issues so that we can optimally produce hydrocarbon with the least cost and reap the benefits that comes with it. You heard Saudi Aramco declaring billions of dollars of profit. Go and ask them. I don't think anybody vandalized their pipes. I don't think anybody steals from their pipes. So what they put into the pipe is what they get. Here, you put in 10,000 barrels, you might get 200 barrels. Will you want to continue? Is that a business to go ahead? So we need to address that particular issue. And I think the current administration is done their best, working with NNPC Limited to see how they address it. You heard the numbers that they've gone up, but again, it's not eliminated, so it will rear its head again if it is not a concerted effort. That's
Please,
my
can I
view.
do a follow-up?
Within NCDMB, we have a joint, a functional committee that deals with stakeholders. We listed and mapped all our stakeholders because we believe that we cannot exist in isolation. I mean, that project is led by Tunde Adelana. We listed all our stakeholders, both regulators, both people that we need to work with. They don't regulate the oil and gas industry, both government officials. A new government is coming. We need to also map those stakeholders and continue to work with them. So be rest assured that we will not take our eyes off the ball. We will see how we try as much as possible to influence our other stakeholders and regulators in the industry. I'm not a fan of Goal Zero, to be honest with you. We have made it very clear as a country that we will have gas as transition fuel. And globally, everybody knows that you cannot switch off hydrocarbon and begin to use battery power or solar, as the case may be. It's a transition. And I've often said that the world, energy wise, have always been in transition. So it's not new. It's just that with the advent of social media, technology, the information is going as if it's a new phenomenon. If you recall, when we read in the books, the early men, when they existed, what was their source of energy? It was biomass. From biomass, they transited to firewood. They started using firewood in order to keep warm, in order to cook. And in the process, coal was discovered. So they transited into coal. Uh, Firewood has not been completely eliminated in the world. The developing countries still use firewood for their cooking. Coal has not been eliminated. 60% of China's energy power today is coal. So we transited to coal. Unfortunately for us in Nigeria, we had to drop coal completely when we discovered hydrocarbon and transited into using hydrocarbon. And right now, we are just getting to own and utilize the capacities we have developed in order to get our hydrocarbon going. They say, oh, now we need to face renewables, solar, battery, and the rest of it all. So we have to transit gradually. So energy transition is no new phenomenon. And make no mistake, it's been here even the days of the early men, and they have transited from one energy form to the other. So we will be part of it, but we have to do it at our own pace. Um, I've always said that it's self-preservation that matters a lot when you come to this energy transition discussion. For instance, the likes of Germany switched off their coal plants because they said they were transiting. And then when the Ukraine and Russia war started, they had to go back and start firing up those coal plants because they want to survive. As a human being, we have to first exist before we protect the environment. So we will transit in accordance with our laid down plan, and we are not going to jettison our God given hydrocarbon. Thank you. Thank you very much.